This month marks 8 years that I've been off the SSRI Paxil. And in this video, I'm going to take a few moments to describe what it was like going on that medication so many years ago. Stick around, I think you'll enjoy the video.
So here's to life, and every joy it brings. So here's to life.
Hello there everyone and welcome back to The Lovely Grind. My name is Michael Preby and my website is lovelygrind.com. That's where you're going to find blog posts about health, healing, and happiness, and that's also where you'll find information about my coaching sessions, and that's where you can sign up to get my free monthly newsletter about health and healing topics as well. So please check out that website and welcome back to this YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to think back to when I first got on the SSRI Paxil. Way back in 1999, when I was just about to enter my final year of journalism school at UW-Madison. You know, it's a long time ago and I've journeyed so far since then in so many respects, both in life, obviously, but with regards to the journey that medication took me on. And withdrawal, going through the withdrawal and healing is a journey like no other, as some of you out there know all too well. It's very difficult at times, but it also can lead to very good places. And ultimately, this video, like all my videos, is meant to give you all hope. So I think back to when I first got on the Paxil. It was, again, 1999, and I was in summer school, and I was working ahead a little bit, making sure I finished on time the following year. I wanted to graduate, in 4 years. And I started having these panic attacks in this journalism classroom. And I can still remember, like it was yesterday, the classroom. It was like a square classroom, no windows. It had a really, really sick looking, like orange carpet, really old wood paneling with some dusty, like portraits of some of the old journalism instructors on the wall or something. And we were seated in like a rectangular square arrangement in that classroom so that, it was a small group and we would all face each other. And this particular class, if I'm remembering correctly, was about 3 hours long. And so I would sit in there and I started having these sensations. I didn't know what was going on. My face would turn red. My temperature would heat up, my heart would race, I'd start sweating. I would think that everyone was like staring at me. I was afraid to even move though. I could have just gotten up, walked out of the classroom, and I did at times, only to come back and suffer some more. But ultimately, I just felt like I was locked there, like I had to suffer. And, it happened once or twice, and then I started really worrying about it, thinking, how am I going to get through the next time it happens and the next time? And eventually that turned into like generalized anxiety and whatever, and the anxiety, the panic, it was probably there to some extent before, and it just started really manifesting in a big way that summer. But regardless, I went home after that summer class was over. I got through that, went home before the fall semester, and I talked to my parents. I said, listen, something's going on. I can't live like this anymore. And I can remember being with my mom specifically. We took a day trip to a beach that was about an hour away from my parents' house at the time. And me and my mom spent some time there. And in my head, I kind of had it worked out. I was going to tell her that I wanted to drop out of school, take some time, maybe work on something that I felt passionate about, get to know myself better, sort out this anxiety thing. That's not how it went. She convinced me to go see their family doctor. She said, you don't want to throw away all the hard work you put in college. And I did put in a lot of hard work. I was top of my class, very proud of my academic achievements in college, but ultimately health needs to come first, regardless, I think is the moral of the story. But I was convinced to go to the family doctor. I remember going there with my dad, and I filled out a short questionnaire about anxiety, had a very short visit with a pleasant enough, old doctor who I had never seen before and who I would never see again. And he said, hey, there's this thing that just came out called Paxil, and it's just been approved for like generalized anxiety disorder treatment. Why don't you give that a try? And then I'll also give you this small dose of Xanax to take on an as needed basis for like acute panic. Okay, so we left there and I had the prescription, and I was really conflicted about the idea of taking medications. And I can remember thinking, if I take these things and I do survive my senior year and I stay in school and get good grades or whatever, I don't want to attribute my success to this medication. So I'm going to sort that out in my head right off the bat. If I get good grades, it's because of me, not because of the medications. And ultimately, I started obviously taking the medication, and I did return to school, and I did get all A's that year with a heavy course load and graduated with honors. But when I started taking the medication, right at the beginning of the fall semester there, I can't remember exactly what it feels like, to be honest, exactly what I experienced, but I remember being very tired all the time. I remember being extremely tired. I'd be sleeping all the time. Like I'd come home for the weekends, and sometimes my mom would like drive me the couple hours back to campus, and I'd sleep the whole way there in the morning and just drag myself out, into my first classroom in the morning, and then I'd come back a couple hours later to my apartment and go to sleep again. And that's a theme that would play out over the years. Just a lot of fatigue and an energy drain. But I do remember that succinctly. It's just being really tired a lot of the time. I also remember just also not really caring about like cleaning my apartment. It's the most bizarre thing, because all of a sudden I just really stopped caring. I would leave food dishes laying around and coffee mugs laying around to the point where there'd like be mold growing in them weeks later. Maybe that's kind of normal for a college kid, but I think it got extreme. And at that time I smoked in my apartment. I'd have like overflowing ashtrays. The kitchen would be full of dirty dishes. And, that kind of, I think, could have forewarned me about some of the things that were to come, as far as ceasing to care about certain things as much as I had in the past. I think that's one of the insidious effects of antidepressant medications. And I kind of remember just feeling a bit off when I started taking the medications. Again, the line was, it doesn't matter, you might feel a little weird, just give it some time. That's the medication just doing its job. Again, we all should have gone running for the hills the moment you hear that phrase. Because if it feels weird going in and it needs 4 to 6 weeks to get its hooks in you, what the heck's going on? And how's it going to feel when you're trying to get off this stuff? So that's, again, not the picture any of us were presented with when we were told to take these things. And 1999 was like a boom year for Paxil, apparently. Again, that's right when it was approved, apparently, for anxiety. And I can remember I had like a brother who was put on it, a friend who was put on it, a cousin who was put on it. It was just all the rage. You go into the doctor for a stomach ache, you leave with a prescription for Paxil. So, ultimately, I did get through that year. The Paxil, did it help my social anxiety or any other anxiety? Not really. It didn't give me some confidence. It allowed me to muddle through that semester and to do well enough, but I think I would have been able to do that anyway. And ultimately, therapy probably would have been the way to go to understand what I was going through, to make some lifestyle changes and some thought changes. Looking back, it's so easy to say all these things, but at the time, it's so very confusing. And as the years went on, there were certainly other negative health effects besides just fatigue, besides just not caring about certain aspects of maintaining a household. There was just other things that happened, and I'll talk about those in a future video. And then I'll also make a video about coming off the Paxil, the withdrawal, which is obviously a topic of many of these videos. But that was my story getting on the Paxil. And I'm sure you all have your own stories about how you got on benzos or got on Paxil or a different SSRI or SNRI or whatever it was. And sometimes it's hard to even think back for some of us to exactly what happened and all the confusion and advice or whatever. went into that one small decision that had such large ramifications. But what I want everyone to take home from this video today is that here I am, 8 years off the medication, feeling good. Don't need to worry that you somehow can't survive getting off of this stuff, or that if you're going through a withdrawal, even if it's severe, as mine was, that you're never going to get any better. You don't have to worry about that. Even if it's painful, even if it hurts, even if it lasts a little while, it will get better for you. And ultimately, once you get off these medications, just like I said in my last video about getting off Xanax, you can find more confidence and better health and just a better perspective on life than you ever had even on the medications. So those are some of the good things to make note of. Again, my name is Michael Prevey. My website is lovelygrind.com. Please visit that website, message me about coaching if you'd like to. Check me out on Instagram at lovelygrind_lifestyle. And until next time, please remember to take care of yourself and your dreams.